Yo, what's poppin' everybody? It's a Sabro94. Gonna show you guys a Digimon deck profile today, and it's gonna be my budget black blocker WarGreymon Craniamon deck. Now, indeed, this is a budget deck, very cheap to build, probably under 50 or even 40 euros. There's only a few cards that are just 1 euro, maybe over 1 euro, and then everything else you can buy like for 5 cents and under on Card Market. So if you find a seller that has all of the cards, then definitely super cheap deck to build. Now, this is a very simple, very budget deck. It's not a tier 0 deck. You're going to be beating Belzamon and Black WarGreymon decks all day, but it can be pretty effective when it works. So our win condition Digimon, well the first one at least, is this WarGreymon with Reboot and Blocker. I really like this card. Simple but strong. It's the combo with Blocker and Reboot basically. It means that you can attack and then it's going to unsuspend on your opponent's turn, so you're ready to block as well. So very offensive and defensive card in one package. It only costs 3 to Digivolve, which is good. 11,000 can be a bit weak these days. We have cards, of course, to boost the power, but your biggest fear is attacking like a security, hitting like a big level 6 and then it dies. But we can't really do much for that. So this is the main card we want to get out. And it's just really effective. Reboot Blocker, excellent combo. Okay. Next card is the Craniamon. So this is slightly stronger. 12,000, pretty good. And it costs 4 to Digivolve. But it's fine because our deck is going to be quite passive, very defensive. We're just trying to set up a big board of blockers and not really attack with other cards. We just want to get WarGreymon and this guy out and then start attacking. And protect WarGreymon. This card is going to contribute to that. As he attacks, they can't target him basically. And then hopefully eventually we win the game. So the big benefit of this card and why we run it is its effect to basically protect itself and all blockers from destruction through effects. Deletion, I guess. So this is really good. One of the worst things that can happen to you is you get your big level 6 out and then they easily get rid of it with like a Dark Gaia Force or a different deletion effect. This card is going to give you protection. So protects himself and then protects your other blockers, which is really good. Of course, he's also a blocker himself, so it's going to be pretty good. And yeah, one of the best level 6 blacks. I mean, can't really say anything more. And these are our win conditions, basically. You know, just 6 of them should be enough. Don't want to have too many. And the X that we're going to run for the deck are going to be the Tumblemons. And I got the OG Kapurimon as well. So, as a blocker deck, we want to boost our stats as much as we can. Our Digimon power, I guess. And Tumblemon is very effective to do that. It's just going to give us 1,000 during your opponent's turn on all of our cards that have blocker basically. It's inheritable for blocker, what I'm trying to say. So plus 1,000, really nice. And then the OG Kapurimon is going to give you 1,000 during your turn. You can build this deck slightly differently if you want to favor Kapurimon, be more offensive. Run the Toyoakamon that gives you reboot, run a bunch of different cards, and then it becomes kind of a beatdown deck where you attack and have blocker. But Tumblemon is just more effective, giving us that boost during your opponent's turn. And it just really just embodies this being a very defensive wall blocker deck. So for Tumblemon and Kapurimon is the way to go. Okay. For our small guys, to get to our big guys, the main one is going to be this Hagurumon. Very good card. Definitely run 4 of this. So this is a consistency card that's also a Digimon, and that's pretty good. I'd rather have something like this as opposed to something like a Black Memory Boost because it gives us that consistency, but it also gives us a body in one. So that's pretty good. On play, you can trash a machine or cyber card and then draw 2 cards. It's an excellent effect. And you guys are going to see I have a lot of cyborg and machine cards in the deck so that we always make sure this is live, but also we have enough to, you know, evolve into our guys. You don't want to dump your Digimon and then you got nothing to evolve into. So this is why it's important to have enough cards for the discarding, and yeah, basically just consistency, just really good. Nothing else to add. You always want to unplay this card for sure. Next up, I got the Toy Agumon, probably the, I guess, best Digimon in this deck in terms of giving us a great boost. It's going to give you 1,000 to your blockers in all turns. So it can be offensive, it can be defensive. It's just really good. It's too bad it's not a machine or something. But you just got to have this, in my opinion. It's just too good. And just going to give us those valuable boosts. Okay. Then I've got 4 of the Chikurimon. So this card, I'm not its biggest fan, but I gotta admit, it's pretty good. I mean, the security effect is strong when you can get it off. Digivolve 1, trash your opponent's highest Digievolution, highest card basically. So it's really busted when it works, and it's gonna hinder your opponent. The problem is that if you don't get it in the security, if it doesn't end up in the security and your opponent hits it, then it's a useless vanilla 1,000 Digimon, and I don't like it. I had the Commandramon from BT4 that has blocker, and that has a lot more synergy with the deck, and it can be useful. I mean, even if it's not going to be the biggest blocker, sometimes just getting that extra defense, extra save is crucial. But, I mean, this card, I guess it's considered a better card. I mean, it can be pretty busted when it works, so gonna max it out. There's no point of me doing like 2 and 2 or just any other number. Run a lot so that hopefully it ends up in the security, and then we can gain the effect. So run this for sure. And then the last 2 level 3s are 2 vanilla Commandramons. This is just a nice 2-drop, and it's also a cyborg, so once again it can be a discard outlet for Hagurumon. But I mean, running a lot of these level 3s ensures consistency as well. So I'm never gonna brick. I'm always gonna open, and then I can instantly Digivolve, start drawing cards, and then set up for our big win condition Digimon. So 2 of this, it works. For level 4s, we have Gardramon, 3 of this card. Now, I want to run 4 of this card. I have one ordered from Card Market on the way with a bunch of other cards, but I only have 3 at the moment. So out of 3, I'm going to show you guys what card to take out if you want to run 4. But this is the best blocker. He can attack, but he's really big. 7,000, I mean, this is before any boosts. After you get a few boosts with Tumblemon, Toyakumon goes into 9,000, and it can get even better depending on the cards you run. So it's a really great blocker, man. Definitely the best one. As I've explained, our deck is quite passive. We're not worried about attacking with most of our cards, really. And it just does the job. Your opponent is going to have a difficult time running over this card. It's pretty good. And it's also a machine. So synergy with Hagurumon. Same for Sealstramon. Very similar card. 6,000, so it's slightly weaker. But this card can attack. You're going to lose 2 memory, though, if you do so. So only in emergencies, maybe to get the final attack to win or something like that. It's the only time you want to attack with it. Other than that, I mean, it's just a blocker, cyborg, and just a good blocker, once again, to utilize all of our other cards. So definitely run 4. Next up is 2 Dark Tyrannomon. I only have 2 of this card, but even though it's a 1 evolution, our deck, I mean, we want to evolve quickly enough, of course, and with spend as little memory as we can, obviously. But because this is a very passive deck, it doesn't really bother us to evolve and then the turn gets passed, because like I've said, we're not really going to be attacking before we get into our win conditions, WarGreymon and Craniamon. So just even if you evolve into the bigger guys and then your turn ends, your aim is to block and just put up a wall. So he's good, of course. I mean, he's a blocker, 5,000, 1 Digievolution is good, of course. But even if you don't run more than 2, it's not too bad. And I mean, he's a dinosaur. It's not like he's going to give us synergy as well with the machines and cyborgs here. Next up, I do 3 Shademon. So if you want to run the 4th WarGreymon, you take out one of these cards. It's still a good card though, Shademon. It's a security Digimon, so if your opponent hits it in the security, we get to play it for free, which is great. It can attack. It's 5,000. I mean, very similar to WarGreymon. It's weaker because it has that security effect, of course. And it isn't a machine, and that kind of sucks. Not a machine or cyborg, so we can't discard it with Hagurumon. But it's a good card still. Blocker. Gonna put in the work as we try and be defensive. Okay. That's for the level 4s, a lot of them. And we have a lot of level 5s as well. So the best one is going to be this Andromon from Digital Hazard. This is definitely the best one. It's 8-3, 6,000, but it gives all of your blockers 2,000 during your opponent's turn. So essentially it's an 8,000 level 3 Digi-Evolution 3 blocker basically, which is really good. And if you keep this around and get other blockers, it's going to boost them as well. So this is really, really nice. Ideally, you want to keep this around. You don't want to get into this and then put Craniamon or WarGreymon on top of it and evolve. Of course, if you have to, you're going to do so. But this is one of the Digimon that you want to keep at level 5 to boost all of your other blockers. It's really good. I mean, you get a bunch of these out, your field is going to be unstoppable in terms of power. And it's just really good. It's a cyborg as well. Synergy with the deck. Nothing really bad to say. I guess if you do want to attack with it on your turn, then it's only going to be 6,000, which is weak. But as I've explained, we don't really want to attack with these cards. So definitely run 4 of this card. Now, unfortunately, besides this guy, there is a lack of other good blockers for this deck. Surprisingly, I mean, because black is supposed to be like the blocker color. They specialize in blockers, but we don't really have much. It's just these Andromons, to be honest. So this guy is a 7-3, 7,000, just has blocker, so it's kind of showing its weakness. It definitely does seem like it came from BT1. It's not that impressive these days, but he's the next best one, to be honest. I mean, I guess if you do attack with it, then it's going to be stronger than the other Andromon, but it's probably stupid to do so because it's still too weak at 7,000. Even if you get the boost with Kaburimon and Toyagumon, it's still not going to be too great. But I mean, I guess if you gotta attack with it, you can. But it's just another 7,000 blocker, level 5. Gotta have it. I mean, we don't have anything better. This is like the alternate art version. But yeah, that's basically it. It doesn't do anything extra. Just a level 5 blocker. And then the worst card, run 3 of this Metal Greymon. As I've explained, we don't really have any level 5 black blockers. This guy, essentially what he does with his effect is he becomes this Andromon for 1 turn, is what it does. When you Digivolve, you can choose a Digimon and it gains blocker until the end of your opponent's next turn. So what we're always going to do is going to turn this guy into a blocker. So he is going to gain the benefits of Tumblemon and Toyakumon if you have those cards under him. But it's just going to be for 1 turn. So you really just want to get to this guy and make sure you can evolve into Craniamon or WarGreymon next turn. Otherwise, I mean, he loses the effect and it's just a 7,000 for a 3D evolution. It's really weak. But as I've explained, we don't really have any other blockers. This guy can make himself a blocker for 1 turn at least. And I mean, that's really it. He's also good food to discard for Hagurumon as a cyborg. That's also why I have him. If he wasn't a cyborg, he definitely wasn't going to be in here. But he is something to discard, and we have another card that can also utilize him. But gonna look at it later. So 3 of this guy, and then we got 1 Higadramon as the last level 5. So this card is really strong. I mean, it's inherited. It's gonna give your Digimon 2,000 during your opponent's turn. That's fantastic. His effect that it becomes a red Digimon is not really relevant, but it's there. The only reason I have only 1 of this is because he isn't a blocker. So he doesn't really synergize with most of the cards in this deck. But as a cyborg, I mean, we can discard him. We can utilize him with another card that I'm going to show you guys last. And if you do get that inherited, you know, you get a Craniamon on top of this, then it does become pretty busted. Now, I actually would rather have Megadramon as opposed to this guy, so we can have gain the boost during our turn. This guy gives you 2,000 on your opponent's turn. Megadramon from the same set gives you 2,000 during your turn. And I'd rather have that card, but I'm going to explain to you guys later why I got this. It's because he's black, not red. But yeah, I would build the deck slightly differently if I had some different cards. But anyway, you're going to find out why we run this as opposed to Megadramon. Okay, and these are all the level 5s. For Tamers, we got 3 of Joe. So this is a very cheap Tamer you can just throw down for just 2. And synergizes well with this deck. As a Tamer, obviously if your opponent hits it with a security, you can play it for free, which is great. Start of your turn, if you have a blocker, you gain 1 memory. So this can be really good. It can be sometimes kind of risky. If your opponent somehow kills all of your guys, then you're probably going to lose anyway. And you don't have a blocker, then you don't get the benefit. This is why it's important to have as many blockers in this deck as possible to really gain this guy's effect. And he can be pretty good. 4 is probably too much, because if you see a bunch of them together, then it's not going to be too good. But you do want to have enough so you do see it. I don't want to go through this game and not see a few of these. So that's why 3 I think is the best number, because we do want to see him. And it can be pretty good. So that's Joe. And then we do need to have a memory setter Tamer. And I got Koshiro here. So this is why I don't run Megadramon and I run Gigadramon for this reason, because I don't have the Tai Chi that's going to give us 1,000 to our blockers on our opponent's turn. Unfortunately, I don't have it. So the next best card is this guy. I mean, we need a memory setter Tamer, and I just couldn't find a better replacement. This guy's, I think, is the best one if you're not going to run Tai Chi. At the very least, if you do hard drop this card, I guess the benefit over Tai Chi is that if you play it from your hand, then it does going to be a 3 as opposed to 4, because you're going to gain that memory. All of my cards are black here, that's why. And why I want to have Gigadramon as opposed to Megadramon. If I had the Tai Chis, obviously this guy is out for 2 Tai Chis, and then I get rid of the Gigadramon from Megadramon. But because I don't, I got to run it like this. You can arrange the cards on the top of your deck. I guess this can be helpful a little bit. With consistency, get what you need. Arrange the stuff that you want to see. But, I mean, we do need a memory Tamer that's going to set you to 3 consistently. I don't really like Koshiro with Joe. This is just a consistent. If you got less than 3 at the start of your turn, you go to 3, which is good. The other effect is decent, I guess, as well. It's a decent card. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's not as bad as I made it out to be, I guess, in other videos, talking about it in openings and stuff. If your opponent hits it in the security, it's pretty good as well. It's going to give you that memory, basically. So, yeah. If you got Tai Chi, definitely run Tai Chi over this card, though. Okay. And then the last card, those are all the Tamers, is this Ultimate Connection. So I really, really like this card. I would really want to just utilize 4 of it in a deck. But unfortunately, it would have been too broken if they didn't give it a very specific condition. And that's really the problem. Its condition is very specific. You have to discard a Cyborg that's level 5 to use it. Otherwise, it would have been just awesome. You run 4 in this deck, and then it just becomes a turbo deck. You gain memory for free. Just really good. If you don't know what it does, you trash a level 5 Digimon with Cyborg, and then you draw a card and gain 2 memory. So essentially, because it costs 1 to play, you basically draw 1 card and gain 1 memory, which is pretty good. And if your opponent hits it in the security, then you gain 2 memory and then you draw a card, which is great as well. And this is why I run a lot of level 5s, 12 of them basically, all of them Cyborgs, just to make sure this card is always live. Gonna give us that little bit of speed, draw, extra memory without using memory from Tamers, and it just speeds up the deck, gives us a little bit of consistency, memory to play cards, and then you just keep going. It's nice, I like it. If you want to take it out, put something else. I mean, if you're gonna take this out, then you probably don't need so many, cyborgs. And usually what you want to discard with this is WarGreymon. Like if you know you're not getting Craniamon or WarGreymon out next turn, and then you got the Metal Greymon, this is probably the number one card you want to discard for this. Or maybe Gigadramon. But yeah. And that's basically the deck, guys. Very simple deck, very budget deck. You can definitely build this for under 50 euros, $50, under 40 even. I mean, if we gotta be honest, depending on where you buy the cards, I mean, it's gonna be really good. The only expensive cards, I mean, Craniamon, WarGreymon, you can get these cards for like around €1, maybe even less on card market. Maybe Koshiro, I guess, is around €1. And then Black Craniamon, they're the only expensive cards. Everything else is just 5 cents and under on card market. So very, very cheap deck. And that's basically the deck. I like it. Very simple. I like simple decks. Defensive, control-based deck. Craniamon is still pretty good. WarGreymon, I like. And that's the deck, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. Share this video with your friends. And I'll see you guys next time. What-ay?